Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we just finished the time warp to make this interception here. We're going to intercept our asteroid redirector Class A and take that on over to mine at the mining ring station. And then, once we have that done, all of our asteroids that we collected for contracts will all be cleaned up, and that will be fantastic, because then we're going to be able to go after some actually somewhat large asteroids. I have no idea how much propulsion it will take for like a Class E or a Class F asteroid. We've only seen like the one Class F. But we're probably going to go after a Class E next. And that's going to be interesting. Yeah, I may have broken this solar array. That was definitely my own fault. Let's go ahead and intercept this asteroid. We're going to need to begin this burn in about 10 seconds here. And let's just see what we've got going on for that. Okay, this is only 32 meters per second. Shouldn't be too bad. We'll bring this on down. And just get that a little bit tighter in there. There we go. How's that looking? 0.5 kilometers? Looks good to me. 42.6 meters per second relative speed also looks fantastic. So let's go ahead and warp around to around here. And once we arrive there, we should be reasonably close to the asteroid redirector Class A. In fact, we should be able to see it right now. Yes, there it is. Hello, Kerbal. And, hello, Moon. Fantastic. So we can see it's right about there. Let's go ahead and warp in a little bit, but I do want to use a maneuver node here for a timer. And we know this is going to be 42.6, was that? Yeah, I think so. Let me just double check that. 42.6. Okay, so we're going to do retrograde, and that's going to be 42.6. Cool. That's not going to be an actual retrograde. We're just using it for this timer. So we're just going to go ahead and warp to that. Okay. Starting that burn in about a minute here. We'll just warp a little further. It feels like we should be starting that burn more like now, but I'm going to trust the timer. I feel like I shouldn't. I really feel like we should be starting the burn now, but it's only a 14-second burn. Okay. Of course, we don't care about the direction of that burn. That was only for the timing. Yeah, the timing was correct. Cool. I trusted it, and it was correct. It felt like it wasn't, but it absolutely was. I overshot a little bit there. We are going to bring it on around here and fix that. Okay. 0.3, 0.2... 0.1 and 0.0. Cool. We're going to point at target, and I want to target the center of mass of that asteroid. And we will arm our advanced grabbing unit. And let's see if going in at about a meter per second, actually like 2.5 meters per second, let's see if that ends up hitting. I'm going to go for 3. Okay. So we're going to warp in a little closer. Let's see how this looks. It feels like we're off. Doesn't it? But no, we're not actually. It's just that we were at a bit of a wonky angle there. Okay. And grabbed. Cool. Let's go ahead and stop that momentum there. We want to make sure that we are controlling from the grabbing unit. There we go. And of course, we've got this guy here. So we've got all this xenon here. I want to check to see. Let's pin all 3 of these tanks open. This is still quite fresh, and I want to then move that xenon into this container. Maybe not all of it, but a decent chunk. Okay, so that's all of it right there. We're going to close those and open this xenon container here. And then I'm just going to do out and stop. Okay. Because we want to get rid of this guy. We don't need him. So at this point, we are going to detach this guy. And I wanted to just leave it a little bit of xenon there. And this is what we are controlling. We have 183 meters per second. Is that enough to crash into the moon? Yes. Yes, it is. Cool. No point in waiting this long. We can do it right around here. And that'll be fine. So we'll just warp over to that. And that burn will be here in a bit. I just wanted to give us a little bit of space, just in case. And we're going to crash this guy. When we start this burn, legitimately doesn't matter. We're just going to lock to retrograde here. And bring this on in. So you can see here, we're moving quite a bit relative to that guy. That's completely fine. And this will be good. And that'll just mean that our center of mass calculation here isn't quite as wacky as the last one, I hope. And we were able to rescue most of that xenon gas. So we just go into a suborbital trajectory, and then this guy will crash into the moon, and that's fine. We don't really care about when that happens. We just want to dispose of it and not leave a bunch of space junk laying around. So we'll bring that on in, and that periapsis is now within the moon. Cool. So this is probably good enough, in all honesty. But, I mean, we could continue to burn this until we burned out all the xenon. That'll be done in 9 seconds, so we may as well. There we go. 3, 2, 1, and the xenon is gone. We are on a suborbital trajectory, and let's swap on over now to the asteroid. So we got rid of that guy. We don't need him anymore. And we've got this guy. Cool. So at this point, I mean, what's our thrust to weight here? Pretty low. We're going to have a bit of an issue with our power generation. I think that's pretty clear. But for now, I want to burn around here. And push our periapsis in to be about 1,000,000 meters. Something kind of like... This is taking a little longer than I thought it would, but sure. Something about like that. That'll do. So we will align for that. We'll get that turned on over. This is a Class A asteroid, I think, isn't it? No, look how heavy this is in comparison. This is a lot heavier than some of our previous asteroids have been. They had like 7 tons of resources. Okay, this is a pretty rich asteroid. I like it. Well, we'll align for this burn. This is going to take almost 10% of our xenon, but that's okay. Now, we do want to extend our... telescoping cylinders, for sure. Just to try to peek out this guy a little bit. Well, we definitely don't want this one to be the one that's up. So let's rotate until this one is in the full shadow position. Kind of like that. Can we actually get this in full sunlight? Not quite. Okay. So we'll just have to like split the difference and have it right about here. Ish. That'll be fine. Yeah. That's pretty decent there. So we will begin this burn shortly. Here in about 10 seconds. And let's get this burn underway as of, well, 3, 2, 1, now. Cool. Why is this going up? Of course. We're not controlling from the correct location. I mean, yeah, this is still fine. Okay. Let's burn it here now. There we go. That makes more sense. And now we have full power flow as well, so that's absolutely great. Let's go ahead and physics warp this. This is going to be a somewhat lengthy burn, but it's not a hugely lengthy one. There we go. So yeah, about another 75 meters per second to burn here. We are going to run out of electric charge reasonably soon. That is fully expected, especially with one of our Gigantors broken. But we did get about 2/3 of the way through there, and it's just turned off this Dawn electric propulsion engine, and some of the others are at reduced throughput, for sure. But that's fine. So we're at about 23 meters per second to go, 20 meters per second to go, 15, 10. Okay. We'll come out of the physics warp and see what our periapsis is like I don't actually really care about the maneuver node here. What I care mostly about is this number. We just want that to be at about 1 million. This is close enough in all honesty, but I'll burn it a little further. There, that'll do. Okay, at this periapsis, we're going to want to bring it on down to be something kind of like circularized, like this. And that's going to be like 500 meters per second. That's basically half of our remaining delta V, but that's fine. This is the last asteroid we're planning on using this asteroid redirector for. So we'll position for that and warp to it. That'll be in about a day. And we'll see what our solar panels end up looking like at that point. That's going to be interesting. Okay, let's go ahead and warp. I was going to say burn. We're not burning towards it just yet. So here we come into Kerbal, and we're kind of close to going into the dark side. That's not ideal. But we'll see how it goes. And I would like to have a bend on this, like have these hinged so that we could bend it out this way. That'd be nice. But for now, we will just warp ahead about another 20 seconds here. Okay. And burn. This is going to be a pretty lengthy burn here, and I'm not entirely convinced that it's going to finish up before we go behind Kerbal. We'll see. We might have to take a second pass at this. But as I said, this is going to be a pretty lengthy burn here, and I'm not going to make you sit through the whole thing, because that would not be great. So I will be back in just a moment when we are either out of power and have to take a second pass, or when this burn is complete. I think it'll be the second pass. We'll find out in a moment. And we are back here. As expected, we didn't quite make it. It will be a second pass. We can't delete that maneuver node until we get power, and we can't do more maneuver nodes until we get power. We're just going to, for the time being, warp forward a little bit here, but we will certainly... I don't want to warp to next maneuver. I guess we'll just manually warp. And we will certainly be able to get this on the second pass, I think. We got about halfway there, as you can see, but we're about to get power back again here in just a moment. There we go. Okay, so with power back, we are going to get rid of this node, and we're going to do a second pass at the periapsis here. We want to circularize this, and let's see just how much that ends up taking in terms of DV. Yep, that looks fine. So we will align for that. And we are going to warp on around. Cool. We've got 816 meters per second left here. And let's get this burn done this time, I hope. That would be awful nice to get it actually done. But we'll see how close we get. It might just be close enough. We'll see. 5 seconds left, and we are going to burn this right about now. We'll go ahead and physics warp it. And as usual, this is going to be a fairly lengthy burn again. And that's because of our extremely low thrust to weight. Once again, I'll be back at the end of this burn, or when we lose power, whichever comes first. Okay, it is definitely looking like we're going to lose power. Yes, we've lost power. I'm not shocked about that. Once again, we are going to warp our way on around, and we're going to do it again. We're going to take another pass, and this is just because Kerbal just happens to be in an awkward place, but that will be changing soon, I think. Let's just go ahead and bring that around. We have power now, so we're going to drop that node, and we're at the periapsis again, going to be looking to circularize. Something along the lines of this. Sounds good. And we will align for that and try it again. This time it's only 142 meters per second, and I'm not sure if it's getting better or worse for us each pass right now, but I think it's getting worse. I think we're getting less time to work on it, which is... we're definitely getting less time to work on it per pass. That's okay, it's just we're at an awkward phase in the orbit. Okay, so we're going to start up this burn very shortly here. We're going to get as far as we can. This time, Go ahead, throttle up, there you go. This time, I don't think I'm going to bother pausing it, because we're not going to have a lot of burn time here. But we are getting to the point of close enough pretty soon here. That's pretty clear. Our electric charge goes away, as expected. And we're going to be losing power right about now. Yep. We're definitely getting worse. We have less and less time per pass. I think at this point we're going to say this is close enough. Is that asteroid? Has that still not impacted? That'd be a little wild if it hasn't. But for now, let's just go ahead and warp around until we have power again. And I think we'll call this close enough. We could continue making passes, but I don't think that's necessary. So we will set the, yeah, that's the asteroid there. We're going to set the mining ring station as our target. And we are then going to, at the ascending node here, we can fix our inclination. Not like it needs much fixing, in all honesty. We need to burn anti-normal here, and there we go. About 1.3 meters per second. So we'll maneuver around to that position. And here in 50 minutes, we will change our inclination. Okay, fair enough. There we go. Let's get that inclination change done. About a minute. Okay, so we're going to burn this very carefully here. I say as I just YOLO it. Okay, cool. Fantastic. So we're just going to, at the periapsis, ideally, again, bring down, like, this would be the ideal way to do it, is to intercept it like this and have it happen over here. It wouldn't be this orbit. Interesting. So I think all we're going to do is we're going to warp around to the periapsis again, and we're going to lower our apoapsis. I think that's all that needs to happen here. We're going to flip around to retrograde. And how much time do we have here? Some. Not a huge amount. But we're going to go to the periapsis, and we're just going to burn at the periapsis as long as our electric charge will hold out, which the answer is not long as far as how long it'll hold out. So we're going to bring that down, and you can see our electric charge just plummet. That is fairly expected. And our apoapsis is not dropping by a ton. Okay. I figured that might end up happening. So we're just going to call that good for now and warp our way around. This would be the most efficient way to do it, which would be to lower the apoapsis down to here. That would mean that we have less relative velocity, less relative speed. However, we could do it from the apoapsis. And let's see what that would end up looking like. If we did it from the apoapsis, we'll have more relative speed, but that's probably okay. Where would this be? Okay, basically the opposite. We'd have to make a number of orbits before we got close. But that would be pretty doable. Relative speed of 269 meters per second. That would be doable. We would just hope that that wouldn't happen on the dark side, right? That's the main problem right now. I feel like we need to circularize this so that we can get an encounter on the light side, because we need that power flow. If the encounter happens on the dark side, then we don't slow down enough. So this is what we got to do. We got to keep doing this for now, at least until such a time as the periapsis is on the light side. But there we go. We're going to position here. Yes, we are not going to fully get this done. I'm aware of that. But we will start our burn here in about 4 seconds. Man, that's getting really tight. Okay. We'll do what we can, but it's not going to be much. And there goes our electric charge. That's what we've got. About 10 meters per second there. Like I said, we just have to wait. We just have to wait. Well, we're going to head around here. Get ourselves some power. There we go. One thing we could do, in theory, is we could burn radial to circularize, but that's not efficient here. What we really do want to do is exactly this maneuver right here. Circularizing this so that we can not have to worry about where our apoapsis and periapsis are. That would be the dream. As we keep making orbits here, it is eventually going to start getting better, but not for a bit. Not for a bit. I'm going to start our burn about a minute early here so we can have additional braking time. I just want to get this braked down as hard as we can. Our electric charge is going to be gone very quickly. Yep, as expected. But we did get almost halfway there. That's a lot better. We'll go ahead and warp over here. And actually, we're going to warp to... Yeah, let's stop this warp. We're going to warp to here. No, I didn't want to stop the warp. Okay. Around we go. I'm not going to bother with a... I'm not going to bother with a node here. We're just going to go retrograde. Okay. This isn't going to exactly circularize, but it's closest to the periapsis right now. We're actually very close here. So at this point, we may be able to do a radial to even it out. We'll let this drop down to like 960, and then we'll go... I think we want radial out. I can never remember which it is. Okay. Our apoapsis will continue to drop for a bit here. Okay, 990. They're currently only about 100,000 meters apart, so about 100 kilometers apart. It's not too bad in terms of circularization. Let's go ahead and try radial out and see what that does. Yes. This is the direction that we want to even it out. Cool. So that'll do. And we'll burn at 4x here until we are roughly here. Just checking how we're doing on the sun. It looks reasonably fine. Let's flip back around to retrograde now. And we'll bring that on in. This periapsis being on the dark side is really making things complicated. There's no doubt about that, but we can get there from here. We've still got about 500 meters per second here, which should be good. And we'll call this honestly close enough. Yeah, this will be close enough. Okay, so at this point, let's see about getting ourselves a retrograde burn to bring this down. And where would we want this? Right about here. Okay, just going to adjust the DPI on my mouse here to make this a little easier. Looks like 15.8 is the closest we've got there. We'll fine-tune this a bit with the retrograde burn, but that's honestly good enough. So we'll align for that. 144 meters per second for the intercept there, and then we will have about another 140 meters per second of relative speed, but that should be plenty of time. We'll have 4 minutes to get the burn done starting from here, and we're not going to go into darkness until we're like here, so it should be fine. Let's warp around to that. I still think it's funny that this asteroid is just skimming the atmosphere and not actually being physics loaded. We're probably just going to detrack it later on because that was intended to burn up in the atmosphere. Okay, so we're going to start this in about a minute here. Let's warp forward. We missed it a bit, but let's go ahead and burn it. We'll turn up our physics warp to make that go a little quicker, since our thrust weight is really low on this guy. Okay. About another 3 minutes left in this burn. And once we get over here, of course, we're going to need to flip to target retrograde, but that's fine. That asteroid is in a really weird place. But it's okay. I'm not too concerned about it. Cool. 60 meters per second to go, about a minute more burn time. Well, it was like a minute and a half. Now it's about a minute of burn time. Sounds good. Our electric charge is plummeting a little bit, but that's fine. We don't necessarily care about that. Okay. About 6 meters per second to go. 2 meters per second to go. Cool. 13.3 kilometers. Close enough. So we're going to switch into target mode and switch to target retrograde. We'll physics warp as we turn. We're going to need to return, though, so we're going to head on over. And that is our destination right there coming up on us. I like it. So we will be a decent amount separate here in terms of our relative speed, but that's fine. So let's get reoriented for that. Where is the station at? That's it there? That's it there. Okay. So we're catching up on the station here. And we're going to, of course, orient here and then warp in a little bit closer. I do want to time this correctly, so we are going to add a maneuver here. And that needs to be, what, 141.5 meters per second. So 141.5. That had a 2 in there. Let's not have a 2 in there. Thanks. Okay. We'll use that timing. And we've got about 2 minutes before that burn starts up. Okay. We'll continue to warp in a bit, but I'm going to stop this warp at about 15 seconds before so that we can align for this burn. And we're going to start this burn in 7, 6, 5, 4. I'm going to quick save here. 3, 2, 1, 0. And the reason I'm quick saving here is we don't care about this directionality. The reason that I quick saved there was just in case we come up with a Kraken, and that'll be fine. So I'll bring this guy on in. This is going to be a somewhat lengthy burn, but I feel like we can't actually get away with a with a physics warp here. Right, and the sun is in a slightly awkward location. I'm going to try to roll here to get our power to be a little bit better. In fact, we can get our power quite a lot better here by bringing it in something like this. Okay, that'll be a lot better. So this is going to be a fairly lengthy burn here, and I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to end the episode here, and we will bring this in the next episode. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including Casserole, Sigma162, JJ Gamer, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Video Games Are Not Real, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.